My thoughts about this idea, I feel like this idea won't last. For one, plastic messes up an engine. This was just an idea. There was this guy that mentioned Grand Theft Auto. He's seeing him on Grand Theft Auto, filling up a tank with plastic. That right there would be like, it's not going to happen for me. Because they're basically taking his idea and putting it into a fantasy type world because it won't last in reality. Plastic is not good for an engine. The fact that it's heating up the plastic, what happens when you heat up plastic? What happens to plastic regardless? When you melt plastic, it's still material. Plastic does not dissolve. The fact that it doesn't dissolve, it'll run through the car and it'll be hard. It'll turn into some type of hard material. And this will cause many interferences. It'll cause a lot of problems with the car. So I feel like this idea is just an idea and they won't put it out in stores or anything because for one, they're thinking about their businesses. They're thinking about their cars. If it's one thing that men care about is the materialistic things in this world. So therefore, if they care, they're going to care a lot about their cars, their vehicles, their automobiles. So if it's going to have a bad effect and a bad outcome, it's not going to last long. So you have to think about this. You have to think about all of those things. So if it's going to cause, if it's a bad outcome, they're not going to go through with the idea. Yes, this idea was, oh yeah, he made an attempt. Okay, so the contract that we're going to give you is based on, Grand Theft Auto. We put your idea on Grand Theft Auto and you become some type of influence of ideas. You become a role model to young people to never give up on your ideas. Um, and like I said, well, and this can hold him over for about, I would say, 20 years of income. 20 years you're going without worrying about struggling or anything, enough money to keep you for at least 20 years, depending on what you do with it. But yeah, I just think that this was just an idea and it's passive. They're not going to go through with it. I just don't see it lasting long because, it's plastic. Plastic doesn't evaporate. Plastic, if anything, is going to cause complications to where it's clogging it's clogging the automobile, it's clogging the tank. You know, Eventually the car won't run at all, and you've messed up a car. So it's just like I don't think it's going to last unless this is some type of plastic that dissolves, like a pill, that type of plastic, edible plastic, I guess. I just don't. I'm. I don't see it taking off. I don't see it going into stores because, for one, when you're about your business, they think about everything. So you can be, like I said, it's like a balloon. You get your hopes up, and then instantly they're like, they pop it and they be like, well, this isn't going to be in stores. This is just going to be, um, you're just going to be another influencer of never giving up on your ideas. So what do y'all think? Do y'all think this idea is going to take off in businesses? Or do y'all think that they're actually gonna, it's gonna be in stores soon? Me, I say no, it's not gonna happen. What do y'all think? I'm calling it out now. It's not going to happen for him. The way it sounds, it just doesn't, it doesn't sound safe. Burning plastic, it will only take you so far. How long does it take to burn plastic? So, according to AI, it says the time it takes to burn plastic depends on the type of plastic, the amount of heat applied, and the surrounding conditions. However, plastic generally burns faster and hotter than many other materials, such as wood, due to their higher heat of combustion. It makes you think what regular gasoline is made out. If I was him, I would look up gasoline and I would figure out what type of material is in the gasoline so that I can have a better idea, a better outcome of how this is all going to play out in the end. If it lasts long, then you have a better chance of profiting off of this invention. It lasts long. The fact that it doesn't last long, the way that car was running tells you a lot. That the way it's running, you're only going to make it what? If not up the road, you're not going to make it out of the city. If anything, if they go through with this, it's a lot of people that's talking about, yeah, I can't wait to buy this. It's going to be so cheap. It may be cheap, but it costs a lot to run. So therefore, it's gonna cost you an arm and a leg just to get out of the city. So that just tells you a lot. This idea is a passive idea, and they know this. They know this, but they like to get your hopes up. They like to, you know, they like to encourage your idea, but they already know what the end result is going to be. You'll probably make. I won't even say he'll make 20 years worth of income. He'll probably make, I would say, probably 5,000, if that, A for attempt. You know, it's not. It's I just don't see it happening. Because plastic is plastic. You have to always think about that. It may take a lot of comments was like, yeah, we don't have to worry about the plastic in the ocean. It's reusable. Just think about them animals and all of the animals that was killed by the plastic in the ocean because it doesn't dissolve. You think you're going to survive in a car of plastic? Be realistic. Um, I don't know. I do know. That's my opinion. That's my theory. Um, but and that's what I'm sticking to. So if he do succeed with this idea, um, don't get plastic fuel. That's my recommendation. Um, Another thing that I thought is that maybe it's not an invention. Maybe it's old to me, new to you. Maybe was never. Maybe this was already an invention. He just discovered the truth of what gasoline comes from. And it's so easy to get to the truth nowadays because I'm like, maybe it's not something new, it's something old. He was just guided in the right direction. It was the truth. All along, we didn't know that gasoline was made from plastic. But what I just thought about, what I just researched was that I was like, okay, so we know what, I don't actually know what gasoline is made from. So I looked up, what is gasoline made from? And it says gasoline is made from crude oil, a fossil fuel which is extracted from beneath the Earth's surface. At a refinery, crude oil is heated and separated into different components, which the gasoline component being further processed and blended with additives to create a finished fuel. So knowing this, I went ahead and I thought, like, okay, so what is plastic made from? And it says plastic is made primarily from synthetic polymers derived from fossil fuels like the crude oil and natural gas. So it's similar. It's similar because they both come from crude oils. If he did not discover the truth, he discovered something to get him started. And I've seen in the comments a lot of people like, yeah, protect him because he's coming to the truth. This is only a piece of information. This is only a piece of the truth that he discovered, but he did not discover the full truth. So yes, they're going to come after him. Yes, they're going to try to hold him back from discovering the full truth, because if he discovers the full truth, if he can make his own fuel, then everybody can make their own fuel, and therefore they'll lose profit. So the only difference is it's a synthetic material. Plastic is made primarily from synthetic polymers derived from fossil fuels like crude oil. They didn't take out the synthetic polymers. They only used the crude oil. Gasoline is from crude oil, but the difference between plastic is it's synthetic polymers derived. Just as fossil fuels, it's the pieces of the plastic. It can also be made from renewable sources like cornstarch. It's more of a It can also be made from renewable resources like cornstarch, vegetable fats, which is used to create bio-based plastics. These materials are broken down into smaller molecules, then chemically blended together into long chains called polymers, which form a basis of all plastics. So, it can also be made from. So yeah, my theory is that the fact that it's synthetic, it won't. And well, it's not. It's not the fact that it's only one. It's one ingredient to gasoline. So, therefore, gasoline may have just 1% of plastic inside of it to get it to last long. It get this 1% of plastic makes it long lasting because plastic is it doesn't dissolve. It's synthetic, it's fake, so therefore it's going to cause a long lasting effect. That's just one ingredient to their gasoline he discovered. But that's the thing, you didn't discover all of what makes up. You're just discovering the pieces that makes up gasoline. This isn't going to. This is, it's just you discovered something. That's why I said A for attempts, because you're repeating history. You're not making history. You're repeating history. You're figuring out the truth. And that's not something new. You just figured out a piece of the truth and you ran with it. Instead you could have went with, making your own gasoline. You could have discovered the truth and figured out how to live live a better life. You don't have to pay for gasoline now because you can make gasoline and it'll make your life easier. But the thing about people nowadays is that they want a profit. They want money. So they're going to go into the businesses and try to run for money instead of run for an easier life. Choices. So yeah, you could. He most likely, like I said, since he's on Grand Theft Auto, they promoted him. They gave him some money for, the game, being a character in the game. That's where he made some money. But as for getting to stores, it's not going to happen. So this is inspirational. So if y'all got an idea, y'all better run with that idea. Y'all better go promote your ideas, because guess what? You can end up on Grand Theft Auto. You better get paid to get on Grand Theft Auto, but this is a lesson learning experience. This is a lesson learned. Y'all can take what he did and express your ideas and get paid to be on Grand Theft, get paid to be on a game, stuff like that. But unfortunately, it's not an invention. It's already been done. So yeah, that's my theory. Like, comment, subscribe, be notified, share at your own free will so you can tell me y'all thoughts and y'all insights. And do y'all think this is going to be in stores? I came to my conclusion. Talk to you next time. Bye.
I guess I'm
history in the making.
Hey, are you scared?
I am.
Yeah. Now, have some faith. You got it.
I got faith.
All right.